Good morning, everyone. No doubt we are starting a bit earlier than usual, but we're going to be discussing some important news that we have seen so far. So last night, we have seen the market rebounded back. Definitely the KLCI market had rebounded back and doing much better than it is. But we are still sangkut, we are still stuck on that market after the market not able to break above 1500 and still hanging on there. It is also taking a cue from the US Dow Jones, which continued to sell off last night almost 200 points because they could not agree on the stimulus. More on that on our later show. But tonight we will be talking about the part 2 of the US election, the outlook should whoever person win, either Biden or Trump win, and we'll be looking at those winning sectors. If Trump wins, we'll be looking at those sectors, and if Biden wins, we'll be looking at that sector too. So I hope my sound is coming to you okay, right? And do take note of it. So hope you can hear me well enough while we continue to be the only news analysis in town with regards to analyzing the corporate news and bringing to you with SmartRobie. Now, thank you for sharing this morning in here. While we are ready, we will move on to our headlines for this morning in here. Let's move on. Now, our headline for this morning is no other than the regional pricing. Now, what does regional pricing mean? It means that usually when foreign funds, when they come and look at our market, come and look at our market, first thing they'll look is, okay, where is the cheap sale that you see? Now, if you look at what we've seen here so far, maybe I'll just bring out my laser pointer here, right? This is my laser. Okay, so first thing they will know is that where is the most expensive one? Yes, Japan. Okay, Japan expensive. All right, KLCI is expensive. Then they will look. Next thing they say, where are the mid-range? Singapore is the mid-range, and where are the cheapest? Jakarta. Okay, Jakarta and Hong Kong. And we all know Hong Kong is the continuing non-freedom that is imposed by the Chinese administration to Hong Kong. So if you look at it, in terms of foreign coming in, they have to look for somewhere that is relatively cheap. Definitely Jakarta. Not in here is Thailand. I do believe Thailand is also lower than Singapore. So in that way, what I've just explained to you is a basis how foreign fund is looking at it. And one of the things that we will look at it is that Malaysians are getting a bit political unrest that we've seen the budget 2021, which is going to be a fight when it's tabled on November 6th, if I'm not mistaken for that one. So that is yet to be seen how this market is going to be panning out in here. Okay. So meanwhile, that the market will also look at how attractive each region is. Now, if you note that Malaysia definitely offer the rubber glove and also the technology exposure in there, and it's pretty much export based. As such, it has become what we know today as the rubber manufacturer. That's right, the rubber manufacturer sector, which does has a heavy component in our KLCY, continue to hit much of what we see today. And yesterday we had the two announcements, SuperMax and also Hartalega continue to make very good results, which we'll look at it in a couple of slides in here. But what we are saying in here, the glove manufacturers are making super profit, which may explain why our PE to our regional market are higher at 22 times compared to our neighbor, which is Singapore, about 20 times in here. Now, Singapore continue to be attractive as a dividend yield play, but they are going through also economic hard time like us, and they are not getting any reprieve other than a few sectors in there, perhaps the healthcare and also the manufacturing from Singapore inside. But Jakarta is looking relatively attractive at 10 times. Smaller market in there, only about 600 over stocks compared to Malaysia, 900 over stocks. And we will see how it will pan out. Okay, let's look at our next story that we have for you here. Okay, our next story talk about what we came from the good good times, okay, but the stronger and pricier PE. So this news actually revolved around that now what is happening here, are market able to recover? And as you can see here, the rising rubber prices, and also right now the rubber sectors, okay, like Hartalega, Top Gloves, and Kosan are beginning to adjust to the vaccine news. As more and more vaccine news is coming out, we have seen there's a bit of some disappointment in terms of the phase 3 trial, where there are some people getting sick. So these are actually bringing good news to the rubber glove. The later and the longer it delay the vaccine rollout, but the vaccine will come out, but that's going to be next year. So that way, I do see rubber glove has a bit more room to go, but don't expect super big movement that we've seen early this year, just at the beginning of the COVID-19. It's going to be very moderate growth, but at least there are some growth over here. Okay, now I just want to know if the sound is coming in. Okay, if the sound is coming in, just type 1, okay, and give me a thumbs up if I'm doing a good job here. All right, I want to know that you guys are still on the show over there. All right, thank you for that one. So let's move on to our next news. Okay, so our next news is on the trickle down effect from the Hartalega. Let's look at Hartalega today. Okay, if you can see Hartalega this morning, the stock price is, after yesterday, should be down 3% in here. Why is that? Just like the last time that we saw in earlier this month, on good news, profit taking. That's right, people are taking profits on good news, and they expanded 424% in here. The last time when it hit $20, there was a profit taking, and the market went back down to down to $14 before recovering back. So right now it is down 3% here, which also explains why our market, let's look at our KLSE market, is also down this morning, should be. Yeah, down 6 points in here. So that again, it's finding very, very difficult. Now look, let me just show you here what we're seeing in the market right now. Okay, so here we have this 1480. There are 2 springs there, which is a sign of strength. It's very, very important it stays above the 1480. Anytime breaking it down, that is going to be more downside. Well, but right now it's accumulating, holding its nice base above the 1490 level, 1500 level in here. And on top of this good news, usually we will see profit taking in here. Thank you people for typing your response in here. So as also on the right hand side, you could see on this chart the continuing surge in the net profit, which jumps almost 424% to 549, because the next news is also on SuperMax, which also tell very similar story, but it jumps more than 3000% in here. Let's move on to our next story here. All right, so the SuperMax are what we call the super duper continue to break out higher on the SuperMax. Okay, you can see net profit jumps up almost by 300% to 789 million. Revenue is up 1.35 billion, and as such, the net cash position on SuperMax continue to be high because more and more people are buying, but they have to pay a deposit. So the news also said that a lot of the customer pay somewhere between 30 to 50% deposit to secure the supply, and that's why the net cash position is going to be good. We can use it to invest in the what we call cash. Daily cash products that more like slightly higher than fixed deposit, so that will be going to be good. So let's move on to our price movement for SuperMax. Let's take a look at it here. So you can see the livestock price. It's also down 2% in here. A lot of profit taking is happening in here. So amidst of good news, nothing else is possible. And also remember, we are only 7 days ahead to the US election. As I said before last week, usually coming up to a week or 2 weeks before the US election, you will see market tend to sell off a bit. And guess what? If there is a good result in, by a huge margin, you'll see the market starts to rally. So keep that in mind, but I will talk more this evening for that one. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, let's move on to our next story. So our next story is also on technology. Manufacturers aligned with building sensors and encoder for the automation is Globetronics. Okay, now if you look at Globetronics, the news is that they're pretty flat on their net profit, and also revenue is about 65 million. Again, same thing, you will see profit taking in here, Globetronics. Looking at the stock price here, market is also Globetronics. Looking at the stock price right now, you can see the trend was very nice, picking up much earlier in here. Right, it's down also 2%. So lots of profit taking this morning in here. But what I just want to share with you, what is important is the significance of the Green Pentagon. So the Green Pentagon were able to come up almost 2 weeks before this news came out. Of course, now the news are slightly flat, I would say, and you will probably see profit taking in here. Now, if you're shorter term, it's time to take profit. But you have a longer term, I think after the election, which is 7 or 8 days from now, that would be give another chance to do perhaps a year-end rally for that one. Now, we are coming to the end of the month, so we have to see how November will pan out for that one. So do take notice of this one. All right, let's move on to our next story. So our next story is on CPO. My last check, as the news came out for this, a lot of the stocks, whether it is TAAN, TSH Resources, and some of those stocks we talk about in here, continue to move sideways, despite we have the nice breakout in the CPO prices to 3,000, and then later on came back down to 2,007. So it has been pretty volatile. But the news actually talks about the India and China continue to buy more palm oil from Malaysia in here, and we have seen the prices able to stay above 2,500 in here. So the demands are coming in, but again, higher prices when CPO go above $3,000, you will see that China particularly will switch over to soya bean prices. But I do think if Biden were to win and China is trying to show some sort of good faith, they would buy from the American, but on the basis of a good negotiation. So you see soya prices will pick up and a little bit of letdown on our CPO prices. That is my take if Biden wins. Labor shortage and dry prices, however, will keep the prices high. I mean, we will have some improvement in the CPO, some resistance on the CPO prices should Biden win, based on what I've just said inside there. But the labor shortage and the dry weather will provide some sort of support. What does that mean? It simply means that we would not see huge movement above $3,000 level for the CPO prices should anything happen within the next 1 or 2 months because of those things now. So let's take a look at some of the stocks. We always have Kim Long, okay? Kim Long, which is a CPO stocks that I have in here. And let's look at the stock comments and the stock charts here. So this is what I talk about. It's still in a bearish rating. You can see market continue to move sideways to dropping down. So you need that kind of dividend to sustain why there is a need to carry and holding these stocks here. All right, so that's very important. So the palm oil prices will be important if you want to keep these stocks on a good level. All right, let's move on to our next story. So our next story will focus on US. We have seen last night what has happened in here, and the Dow Jones continued to have a big fall, 600 points, another 200 points, is because the House and the Senate could not agree on the COVID-19 stimulus, and Mitch McConnell, who heads the Senate, decided to say, hey, I'm going to go over to help Donald Trump to win the next election, which is only 7 days, I can see that. So their parliament, or they call it the House of Congress, in our Malaysian they call it the parliament, decided to not meet until the election. So as such, we have the reporting from Apple, okay, and also Microsoft doing much better. I think Apple will be tonight or tomorrow, the next day, just within this week in here. Microsoft came out and reported quite well. And a lot of the American fund managers are saying, look, in this post-COVID norm, technology stocks, used to be considered as a growth stock, but now it's considered as defensive shares. Now, traditionally, oil and gas stocks, which we have seen cyclic, has seemed to be rather volatile in the coming US election, because we've seen that if Biden gets elected, then we might see a lot of the oil and gas projects being phased out slowly. All right, and you have seen that the fracking on the government land in Pennsylvania as one of the issues where Biden is really fighting on, is another talking point among the Republicans, whether Biden should be voted in that state or not. All right, so this is what we have seen so far. Interesting enough, technology stock seems to be holding the fort for that one. So we will discuss this more tonight, so make sure you join me at 9:30 p.m. tonight. Okay, so let's look at the news that we have for this morning here, shall we? Okay, and KLSE news. So right now we have, first thing that came to mind is definitely Post. And one of the news that came out is MCMC monetarily mildly positive for the Post. Now what is happening is, the story behind it is that Post currently is having doing very well because of the pandemic, and a lot of people are taking sending out delivery. So we can see Post has been in a downtrend, and with this new news that you're seeing that they would not issue any more courier, and that's why we're seeing this movement up. But does that determine a trend that is downward? Yet to be seen, but usually we want to see technical support at the double bottom in here. So we want to see the market come back down a bit, right? Then you will see perhaps another chance here. And a lot of time, if the market were to sustain to go higher, we usually have to see earnings coming in. So I would not go in and rush just to buy on this one. So that's why we wanted to highlight, it's important that you understand the news as it comes out. If you look at this news, when you first see it here, okay, let's scroll back, you can see item number 2, 4634, Post is positive, the news. Pentagon is green, it's just turned green. Okay, so let's look at Post. No doubt, if you're buying it early, how about the dividend? And let's look at the fundamental too. So what we want to teach you, all of you, is how to combine both fundamental and technicals to look at the chart here. So you can see here, it is loss making. That's why you have a negative PE of 2 times, but it does pay a 5% dividend, which I find rather interesting, having lost and yet able to pay a dividend. So it does not make a dividend yield play. You only want to pay dividend or reward your shareholder. But who knows, with this new surge in e-commerce and parcel delivery and the hoping of another license which is given out by MCMC, you might see Post coming. But right now, at what we just saw on the market stages, okay, this does not look very positive because the market has run up. Wait for it to form a double bottom, okay, maybe around 81 cents. And this is one way to do that. We will switch on to our trading plan. Okay, look at the pullback. Okay, now the pullback say that we want to buy at 90 cents. Okay, and 90 cents. Okay, that's where we want to, 90 cents, which is this level here. That's right. So pullback, this is the right price to buy. So having said that, on SmartRobie calculation, based on it, 90 cents is a good level to entry. So let's look at Post this morning, see whether Robie is right or not. Post today is holding up, not bad, yeah? It's holding up inside there. Okay, something to think about. But of course, from a chartist standpoint, you want it to form a double bottom, but Robie is calculating at 90 cents. Let's see how Robie will fare in coming days when we come back and revisit Post. All right, now the next thing I want to talk about is a lot of, if you have any stocks that you want me to look at from a SmartRobie standpoint, do type it in there. All right, let's look at the premium alert that we have so far before we move on to the other stocks. Now on the premium alert, okay, we have last week is TDEX, which hasn't made much movement. No, not last week, actually, it was on Monday, that's right. So this morning we are selecting Homeriz. Okay, let's look at Homeriz, and it came out at the 9:30 premium alert. Okay, that has changed. Now it's a different list. Now remember, now how do I know how often it changes? And one of the things you can do here, all right, let me just type it in here. I'm going to switch back to here, right? At the okay, what I want to do is, yeah, that's right. So one of the things you can do is what is premium alert? So we have trained Robie to display this information for you. Okay, so if you look at this, let me just show you here. What is premium alert? So you can type it out in there, and it says that watch the premium alert video, which actually talk about how it's been used, but just you can watch that during on the YouTube in here. But the premium alert basically is it says that it's a stock trade idea that refreshes every 30 minutes during trading hours. It's suitable for active trader, so which means it is usually trade over a shorter time frame, and usually you get about 4 or 5 trades. Like this morning, what did we get? We get about 4 trades, okay, that focus on mid cap and small cap stocks with greater price momentum with heavy volume. Now it's for higher risk tolerance trader with target profit and stop loss trades, okay. And also do check out momentum trading, which is the trending stocks. There's also Pentagon, which we will look at that, and there is another YouTube tutorial for that, so check that one out too. Another feature that we have put in is how to get started, especially those of you who are first time and you using SmartRobie, just type in how to get started, okay, and again you will get a list of information with video in here. How to get started, we have a 4 minutes and also a 1 hour tutorial on SmartRobie with all the full features. And item number 2 is the Pentagon guided system, because many people ask what is line change, what is UT, so take a look at those 2 in here. And of course, item number 3 is the overall 4 steps plan to get started, especially if you are first timer and beginner and wanted to know more how to use SmartRobie with all those free tools, or as well as premium tools that we have that will get you started in here. And item number 4, let's not forget also, eventually when you are ready, after you have done all your paper trading and preparation and ready to put your money, this is where you want to open an account. I believe there's always a step-by-step method to make sure you get that education that you need before you come in. And that's why we believe SmartRobie has that potential to fill up, to make it as a trainer for you. Train you first, okay? Make sure before you do any, check with SmartRobie. Don't lose money on the market, because the stock market will be happy to take your money away. But get SmartRobie to train you first, check up all the things before you do so. And for this morning, if you look at it, what we have for you is Homeriz, okay? So Homeriz is one of the shares that came out. We will pick another shares in here, Homeriz. Now remember, we have seen early on the trending stocks, Lihan. If you check it, Lihan has been, now we all know Lihan is also part of the furniture stocks, right? So now all their cousins or their abang adik, Lihan is the furniture. Now you got Homeriz. Then next thing you may have another stock, Bohwat. It's going to be running. So I think it's no-brainer when you see one of the market leaders start to run the second liner or the laggard in the same sector will do well. We will look at Lihan shortly, but let's look at Homeriz first. Now Homeriz came out, so we type Homeriz in here. So I want to spend a bit more time just to get things out for you guys, and you can see, let's look at Homeriz. Now if you see here, Homeriz just turned green pentagon in here. No doubt sometime when you see red pentagon, right? So that is an early award that tells you it's time to take some profit or cut loss or whatever the case you need to do. But if you look at from this trade, right at the below, at the green pentagon, it was very nicely done. And let me just go back to here. If it's on green pentagon, you have a 62% ratings. And if you had gone in around 62 cents and still holding on, that's a 9. But this today does give you another opportunity to go in today on Homeriz. And let's look at Homeriz this morning in here. Look at the stock price. Right, it's up 1.8%. Okay, let's look at the real-time chart we have here. Okay, some of you want me to look at Aeon Credit. That's good. We will look at that Aeon Credit. Okay, Marsing, we will look at Marsing too. Now, this is Homeriz, very nicely done on an hourly chart. Again, some people do ask me, do I need a real-time chart or other. Again, going back to you whether you want to become an active trader. If you want to become an active trader, get something like this. If not, you can just switch back to the SmartRobie charts, which is refreshed and updated every night in here. Okay, again, this is how it looks pretty good. So this is something we will pick and we will come back and look at on Friday. Okay, now the other thing I want to talk about earlier on is the trending stocks. Again, now what is trending stocks? So the same thing, you just type what is trending stock, okay, and you hit that. So that would give you again a definition from a SmartRobie and what is a trending stock. So you can see in here, a trending stock is a stock trade idea that is in the uptrend momentum or about to get into a stage 2 markup. Okay, suitable for momentum investor, medium-term trader who don't want to get missed. All right. Out in the trending shares. Okay, don't want to get missed out in the trending shares. And it's a stock idea that is generated end of the day. Again, at end of the day, at the end of the trading day, after 11 o'clock, where Robie reprocesses all in here. And usually you get about 4 or 5 stocks that focus on mid cap to large cap stocks with uptrend momentum. Okay, so it is also riskier trade because you're buying the momentum going up. But some people say, I want to buy things that it is already moving. And this is definitely one way looking at it. So if you look at this, what stock do we have here early on, right? We have only 2 stocks, Lihan 7078. Okay, let's look at the stock price here. And you can see here, Lihan first came out was almost a couple of days ago in here, and you can see that is a nice trend running in here. But now you have a chance with Homeriz this morning. It can be a bit daunting to really buy a stock that is moving up because you sometimes, and many times, not only sometimes, you buy and then the stock turn against you. Has that ever happened to you? If that ever happened to you, type 2. All right. So right now we have looked at the trending stocks. Okay. Now I want to look at some of the stocks that you guys have. Aeon Credit. Okay. Aeon Credit. Now Aeon Credit. First of all, I don't know. Sorry. This is for Adrian. Okay. So we do not know whether you are long-term or short-term. So usually first thing we want to do is look at the stock fundamental first. All right, we look at the stock fundamental in here, and I remember this is one of the better fundamental stocks. 7 out of 8. Okay, pay a 2% dividend. It does closing price is $9.70. You can see the intrinsic value is about $14. So clearly it's undervalued. It has price projection of $14 in here. So all in all, this tells me this is a good stock for longer term, but we need to have whether the stock price agreed with us or not. Let's look at the stock comment and stock chart. First thing we want to look at is also look at the ratings. Okay, it is a bearish rating that you can see in here. All right, so here, okay, it has a 60. So right now there is profit taking in here. Okay, profit taking in here. So it all depends on you if you have bought it or not. But right now this thing is breaking down a bit. Okay, and we have red pentagon already. That's right, we have red pentagon already in here. So simply that tells you. And let's look at the exit strategy here, shall we? Exit strategy for Aeon Credit. Okay, this exit strategy at 937, so it's a red zone, and if you break through the ATR stop loss, you should exit. And then look at HLFG for financial services. Let's look at the prices now. 934. Okay, 934. Now it's 963. So what it simply says that, look, if you have some profit in there, then take some. If not, 930 is an area you want to cut loss. But again, going back to what is your game plan. All right, now if your game plan is a longer term, you may want to ignore the so-called pentagon, because why? You are investing for the longer term and you are going for the what we call dividend. So it all goes back to what really your plan is. Okay, are you riding the longer cycle? Let me just bring out the early on the here. So there is a dividend. Okay, let me just show you the dividend of 2.3% that you're gaining on. Then that way you want to see, because remember the market has gone higher and right now it is going through a profit taking segment in here. And let's look at some news. Okay, So news is CTOS KYE. Net profit improved September 30th to 5.5%. So if you look at that, that date was September 30th. Okay, September 30th. And we look at the charts. Okay, we'll look at the charts here. Right. And usually what we've seen this morning, same thing. Every time when there's good news. Okay, let's look at, let me just take this again. I hope you all like what you see so far. So let me just explain in terms. Now, if you look at the daily chart here, market continued to go down. All right. You see this? Okay. This was, okay. Now this date here. Now this is where we have the 30th September. You see that one? $10.75. This is usually what happens. Once the good news comes out, profit will take in. That is going to be happening on Hartalega. So sometimes you really have to decide whether I'm short terms, I want to be in or out, kind of rotating out and rotating in. But right now, it's really disadvantage. If you want to take profit, it should be on 30th September, just like today on Hartalega. Good news, right? Take profit. But many of you are not trained by nature. That's why we are doing courses to train you guys. The mental part, where you see good news, you must take profit. Of course, many of you say, good news, ma, I hang on. But when price drop, you get worried, isn't it? So back to Aeon. Again, go back to what's your game plan. If you have a time frame to hold on to Aeon, right, more than 9 months or 10 months, then you can really look at it at a longer term, take some profit off. But if the market were to go down, you get stuck, you still need to hold on. Again, you got to look at your portfolio diversification strategy. That's something I will teach also in the masterclass. How do you? So it's very important that you have longer term coaching and mentoring, how you want to move your shares, whether you are following buy and hold strategy, which I don't recommend, or you're buying a sector to sector rotation. Now take a look in here, right? Now if you are buying Aeon based on sector, it's definitely not going to be benefiting, but usually most people buy Aeon is because the stock price move higher, because they only react to the price, but they don't react to the sector. Right now, the sector is doing well, is the furniture sector. And if you don't get it right on this kind of strategy, I will see there will be more challenges and struggle that you have when it comes to stock market. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Next one we'll look at is Marsing. Now Marsing, we all know it has a lot of good news inside there, and it's very hard to make money on good news. But unfortunately, we get sucked into all this kind of news, isn't it? No news to want to buy. Got good news only buy. So usually a lot of cases, the stock already trend up high, you see the price coming down, and that's where a lot of investors, you and me, we all get scared, right? Okay, let's look at this one here, Marsing. And that's why this is always the case, right? Good news, you jump in and buy. And why you see that? If you look very carefully, because of the climatic volume. Now, you all know what happens to climatic volume, isn't it? Especially if you join the 9:30 live FB that Zac talks about in here. We've been doing this for almost 2 years already, okay? Our live FB show, and you will know time and time again, we always talk about volume is important. Now, if you never bothered to learn about price and volume, and you listen to all this good news, you will always again struggle and have many challenges like this when the price goes down. Of course, you say, price coming down, it's okay, I will hold, right? But my job is to teach you there is a better way. You can become a better investor and a better trading if you do the right thing. Of course, definitely following all our free program will help you. But the time to improve, and you look at the performance over cost, that will take away a lot of your time. And having a tool like this already, it's good, but you want to get better. So right now, if you look, my question to you, if you look at Marsing, are you short term or long term? Okay, if you are short term, then time to cut loss, because it broke through the ATR stop loss. Okay, you broke through the ATR stop loss. Again, you can type what's ATR stop loss. Okay, ATSL. So what's ATR stop loss? It's referred to the average true range stop loss price. It's a risk management to prevent disaster loss should the trade do not work well. All right, again, going back to, okay, let's look at Marsing exit strategy. Okay, you can see, think to exit Marsing only when the stock become volatile again, start to move lower in the next few bar. The stock is already close below the ATR stop loss. It can go higher, only a successful pullback. It has hit 3-month high already. Okay, check out for news. Okay, and again, good news, what we saw in Hata what we saw in Aeon and what we see right now is Mustang, it's happening. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a sign of smart money selling at the top and distributing. I hope you all learned something today. Okay. Okay. There's another question. What happened to Tenaga? Yeah. Tenaga never buy Tenaga. Depending on your strategy, right? I'm not interested in the reason behind it because there are always 1001 reason. I only interested to buy Tenaga if there is a green pentagon, all right? So I hope that you use SmartRobie to train your thought. If you look at it, why would you want to buy a downtrend stock? Again, we all been taught, right, that we want to buy for dividend ma. Okay, let's look at the dividend. Okay, let's look at stock fundamental. Maybe the dividend is good. Let's look at it. Okay, it's a 9% dividend. No problem about it. 9% dividend, only get it once a year. But if the stock price, if you look at this, if we continue to go down and down and down, and even right now, the ROE is also low. But of course, if you ask analysts, they will tell you, because of MCO, governments are giving a lot of rebate back to the consumer, which is the rakyat, and that's why they potentially see net profit going down. So that's why the stock price is going down. But take note of it. I hope by listening to SmartRobie every morning, this kind of news, it helps you to change your mind, how you think about the market. Now remember, I always talk about in my courses, there is a required rate of return every year that you need to make. And if you don't make that, you're going to be missing bigger part of the picture and not able to achieve the necessary financial goals that you have, which I've done it for myself and for my client too. I found that it's always been good. We are able to hit the $1 million mark for some of my clients when they first started with me, and we continue to do so year in, year out. Of course, not every year we make money, but we have made over time, and very happy for them. Finally they can sort of retire and don't really need to work hard for it. Again, I want to bring some of the sharing that I've done before for my client and for myself to you, but you need to get out from this kind of fix, especially on Tenaga. Okay, there's a question inside here. Should I load on, no, question, DG, okay, let's look at DGSB. First of all, we really want to look at what sector is DGSB, okay? So we go to the stock fundamentals in here, all right? I think this one is a small cap stock on ACE market. This is a goreng stock lah, all right? Very simple goreng stock. It's because it's loss making again. So when you say low, that means you are trading it very aggressive. This is a software stock, and usually software stocks, this kind of thing, just trade it like a normal stock. So look at the live stock price, okay? Now, usually if you are trading this kind of stock and you want to load up, right, then take a look at the active, I assume you're going to be an active trader. So make sure you use the real-time charts. Then you have an edge. You want to look at hourly, whereas the market has turned, right? Because this kind of news, usually smart money already want to push out. And this, right now, what I've seen here is a momentum stock, okay? So you look at DG, this is, let's switch to a daily chart. So daily chart right now, the market is now at 22. It's on a nice uptrend, I would say, okay? I don't know why I get this. Okay, it's on a nice uptrend. Let me just turn it off again. Okay, I'm just going to switch back to here. Stock comment. Okay, so you can see here, the green pentagon already came out way back on the 11th of October. It's going to be more, I would agree, this is a good stock, but don't load up so much. I think another point of really doing well is don't treat it like a gambling that you want to double up and double down. And sometimes I've seen many investors, many traders just do the wrong thing, and one wrong trade, right? They got it up. And again, the psychology is important. A lot of people get a lot of thrill from the market when you make a lot of money, when you have that dopamine behind you, right? Wow, make money, but lost money, don't worry. So do think about the fear and the greed each of you have. The sooner you learn to how to control of that one, the better it is, okay? Loading up, not a good idea. You can buy again on the DGSB. I hope I say that. Foreign fund selling TNB. Foreign fund has already left the country inside here. Now, if you have TNB, then you have asked the question, why am I holding on TNB? Utilities, in my opinion, on the longer run won't make you money. You're much better off buying, worst case, buying Axis REITs, which does have a warehouse REITs, which actually give you a better yield. So go back and rethink again why you bought TNB, okay? And change your strategy. It's still not late, okay? Some of you have, okay. DGB and DSB, is it different? Let me check. I think DGB and DSB. Okay, I will look at your stocks now. DG. Okay, or DGB. Okay. Or that DGB. Okay, that will be the last stock. I'll look at it. Okay, it's wow, this one 2.5 cents. Anything below 5 cents, don't touch. I wouldn't even want to look at it because it has a lot of volatility. Anything below 9.5 cents, don't touch. If you make money, it's fluke one. If you lose, you're more likely to lose money than making money. And again, this is an active trade. You need to have a real-time chart for this. Else you have no edge. Else it's just like, you go up to Genting and you just throw. Your edge of making money is very, very low. And stay away for anything that's 10 cents. Okay, that's how I would say it. Tan, I hope you understand what I'm saying in here. The point I'm teaching you is how to make money effectively and profitable over a long time. And not to speculate, tekan. You have no edge. Else, don't waste your time even learning about charting. Just close your eye and bet. Okay, and if whoever you get that stock tip will help to do you better, follow it. But track your winning rates out of 10 times where you get from this person or this newspaper or this blog or this seafood. What is the winning rates and what kind of advice they give to you? I hope I helped you on that one, Tan. Okay, so let's move on to our next story. All right, before we close up in here, I think I've talked about trending stock just now. We have Lee Hen in here. All right, this was last week. Inari is still now moving on the sideways market. I think it's still okay. Right, we will see in the later date and once next week onwards. Okay, and just a little bit of announcement for the community. Those of you who want to learn VSA, our next course, this will be in December. My apologies. The October class we have done. The next one will be in December 5th. This will be in December. Okay, this will be in December 5th, December 2nd to 5th and to 7th. Okay, those of you who really keen to upgrade your skills. And if you've been following us for a while, you find that our methodologies and our tools and also our trainer is reasonable to answer you, to guide you for the next 12 months. Do consider us. All right. Of course, we still have our Trade VSA one-day course, which is coming up this coming Saturday. That's right, from 10 a.m. led by my very good, trustworthy coach and trainer Arif and Zac Lim, which you have been following a fair bit over on our Facebook. So make sure you registered for our Trade VSA One Day Foundation, and the number is just right below in there. If not, continue to follow us, what we have to share with you in here. And don't forget, tonight we are doing our part 2 of our post-US election market outlook in winning strategies in winning sectors. You need to have the right strategy to buy in here. Very important. So that's something we're going to talk more in depth at 9:30 while my team and myself preparing those slides for you here. And of course, our Telegram chat room. If you have not joined, do share with your friends so they will benefit. So that's all we have on that one. Dawn, later on, perhaps I'll get to a chance to comment your K1 and M touch on Friday session. If not, catch Zac tomorrow to review, or Arif will be there on Thursday to review your stock on M1, or simply just ask SmartRobie. Look at the trading plan, look at the exit strategy, and most important is that the period, how long you want to hold it for. Don't buy and hope. Have a plan. All right. If not, you'll be controlled by your own emotion, which happen to be the biggest enemy. So that's the message I'll leave back here. So thank you for watching in here, and thank you for your time that you share with me the last 30 to 35 minutes in here. So I'll see you tonight on the live FB on the part 2 of the US election market outlook. Bye bye.